Welcome to Eve Consciousness TV. This is You Create Your World. We're here to bring you support, understanding, inspiration, and information that's going to help uplift you to fulfill your destiny. It is your ability to step into your role now to understand that you are an intentional creator. You're designed to be that, and you have the ability to tune into yourself, connect with your own source essence, which is God, from which we come, and actually bring through the creative powers that create worlds. You are able to do that in your own life and in your own world. So today, friends, I want to welcome you, and I want to welcome our special guest today. Let me put on my glasses. I'm going to read a little bit of information about Manu Khullar. He's my special guest today. So Manu comes from the corporate world. Manu has spent 30 years in various executive positions in high-tech multinational companies. He lives in Geneva, Switzerland. In this multinational high-tech setting, he has been in an environment where uneasiness and stress symptoms are frequently observed. As an expert in change management and a leader concerned with the well-being of his teams and colleagues, Manu has deeply studied and diversified his knowledge of holistic health systems and the underlying scientific principles that make them successful. Give life to your life is Manu's personal mission statement, a principle he applies to himself that has now been underlying his everyday life for over 6 years when he set himself to this healing mission. In both Manu's professional life and his healing activities, he is keen to give his best. He loves learning new healing and coaching modalities. He's passionate about working with people. Manu loves seeing the positive transformations that he helps to bring in their lives. His experience and broad knowledge enables him to address most needs for healing individuals, families, and teams. Manu, thank you for joining us, and thank you for the multifaceted approach that you give to your healing work that you're actually bringing through. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you, Dr. Leslie, and thank you to all your listeners to being present today. And I'm really, really grateful that I'm here to talk to your listeners, Dr. Leslie.
So I want to let the viewers know what we were discussing just before the show. So folks, honestly, we did not plan to wear the same colors today. Yeah, there was a spirit, the hand of the unseen, the hand of God was actually on this. And I let Manu know that the colors that we're both wearing is what I call the Eve consciousness colors. Okay, why? Because when we think of the energetic centers in the body, we call them the chakra centers from one perspective. The second chakra center is the energy of creation. Okay, it's also the energy of sexuality, which is creation of new life, and of fun and joy. And your creative abilities are basically coming from that energetic center. The color of that energetic center is orange. Okay. Now, also, I personally see the energy of Christ, the frequency of Christ consciousness. And for those of you who know, the Bible's interpretation is having that Christ consciousness come through Jesus Christ. We see that energy vibrationally as what I call unconditional love, okay? It's love that is not earned. It's just there regardless, okay? And we have that with the energy of forgiveness as well. So I relate unconditional love to the color of pink. For those who work with stones or know anything about crystals, there's a crystal called rose quartz, and it's a pink crystal, and it embodies that energy of unconditional love, of Christ consciousness. So when we mix together the energy of creation as orange and the energy of Christ consciousness of love as pink, and we bring in orange and pink, this is creating through the heart or creating through love. And that color is peach or coral. It's orange and pink together. And Manu just happened to have that on today. We hadn't talked about it. So the next time you feel drawn to reach for something peach in your wardrobe or in your life, Remember that peach or coral represents creating through the heart. It's creating through love. So, you know, special things are happening, folks, that we may not be aware of. There's mysterious movement going on, and it's really, really beautiful. So remember that the Holy Spirit is all around you, which is the representation of our source essence, or God on earth. And you are surrounded by unseen friends, okay? There's angels amongst our midst. So be aware and be thankful, and remember that you are never alone. You are loved, and all is well. Now, Manu, I wanted to share with myself and the other viewers a little bit more about your life. I'd love to know how you moved into your healing ministry. So you've been in the corporate arena for over 30 years, and what caused you to start actually bringing through healing support for those in your business arena and also outside of that 6 years ago?
Well, you know, all such journeys start with an event in life which you did not expect. So I had similar event about 7 years ago, where I had to move out of a position. I was a head of IT, and due to some political situation, I was forced to move to another position in the company. And that brought me into a situation where I had anger, I had frustration, and I was angry at myself and angry at all things that could have caused it. And at that moment, I met somebody, Angelique, okay, and she told me, well, why don't you go through going through a healing? And she gave me a book, and that was starting of my first journey of learning a healing modality. It was called Body Mirror System by a guy called Martin Brofman.
Okay, excuse me, Manu, what did you say that woman's name was?
Her name was Kim.
Okay.
Kim Mattingly. So she brought me into this world of healing, and I learned my first system way back more than 6.5 years ago, 6 years ago, called Body Mirror System. It's about chakra system, its ability to reshape or energize back any of the chakras which could be depleted due to anything. And it was a way by which one could heal anything quite fast. And so I went through that. I came back with that knowledge, and I loved it because it allowed me in a way to work both on myself but also on my loved ones and help them. And I came back into my workplace, and one of the lady had 6 years of very dramatic pain in the middle of her palm, and she was not able to resolve it since almost 6 years. She had been working on it, and she had gone to chiropractors. She had gone to everybody to help, and the pain always stayed, and it was huge. And I sat there with her. I said, let me try. And I tried, and 15 minutes later, the pain disappeared. And that actually brought me into a very different state, saying, well, this world of healing that we normally considered very woo-woo is something very, very true. And it is possible for someone like me. I have a very spiritual family. My father is very spiritual, mother as well. But this is going much beyond that, where more than feeling, being at a center to yourself, I could actually help another person to go through a healing process. And that started me on a journey of about now since more than 6 years. What came to me, and I think you were talking about synchronicities or divine, let's say, power. I started to work with my colleagues. I started to work with friends and the sisters and the brothers and the wives of my colleagues as I learned systems. And every time I had a client, as if I call a person that I had to work with, I was exposed to a healing system that will be right for the person. Mm. And till now, and this morning I was working with somebody with breast cancer. Last week I learned a new system of hypnosis and NLP that I applied to her, and she told me that within 2 days she starts to see her lump becoming smaller. Mm. And I mean, so since 6 years, I have been exposed to systems, healing modality for the need for a person that I would from. So what I did is I let a divine power or someone much larger than me to guide me into going from one healing system to another. So I've now gone through about 15 different healing systems, learned them, mastered them, and used them over a period of time, and that's where I am and at a point in time, of course, it became very clear to me about a year and a half ago that my journey is into helping, understanding, leading people that are unexposed, that are even unaware. There's so many people on the planet that have absolutely no idea. They have bought into the let's say the belief that the only way to get well is to go to a doctor and to get some pills, and they have forgotten, or they have not been reminded, that their body is the ultimate system that is created by universal forces that allows you to heal yourself, and we don't need to go outside, but we can go inside and do our own work. And that's where I believe my journey is, to help people understand, people get exposed, and then use it for their own, let's say, evolution, healing, if they are dealing with any kind of challenge. And this is where I am.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. So let's talk about this a little bit more, Manu. So viewers, you'll hear us, Manu and I have been speaking about the forces of God, the forces of the Holy Spirit, the universal forces. And now really what I want to say is that of late in the human journey, we're beginning to understand more and more these forces of God, these universal forces, even from a scientific perspective. We're beginning to understand, so that the things that we once saw as miraculous or even kind of magical, woo-woo, okay, Manu used that term, this seems so woo-woo, or I always thought this was woo-woo, okay? The things that traditionally we have seen as that, we're beginning to understand from our field of science. And so we're beginning to actually see the logic and how natural it is. Just like we have natural laws of the planet. If you drop your keys, if you hold something heavy and let go of it, it's going to naturally drop to the ground at a certain predictable rate of speed, mind you, okay? There's the law of gravity. And just as we have that, there are laws that naturally occur that actually dictate what we're experiencing in life. And there's even an understanding now, scientifically, of the relationship between our thoughts and our physical body. So, Manu, I know you put out something recently that said over 85%, and I will say even most recently here in Georgia, close to where I live in the United States, the CDC, the Center for Disease Control, has said that over 90% of all illness is connected to stress, is stress related. So I'd love to talk about that a little bit. And folks, I want to say, it's not just your physical body that's connected to how you're thinking and feeling. And science now shows there's a very direct correlation between how you're thinking and feeling and what's happening in your physical body. But guess what? There's also a direct connection between how you're thinking and feeling and believing and what's happening in your life, your physical world. Imagine that. Imagine that. So through this show and the guests that we have on, you're going to learn more and more about that relationship, about how you, through your thoughts, your feelings, and your beliefs, have an interaction with what's happening in your physical body and what's happening in your life. And there are experts now like Manu who are able to bring through scientifically based processes that help you start to positively change what's happening here, which will change what's happening here and in your life. Okay, so amazing that through Manu's tools, and it sounds like he's got a lot of tools in that toolkit of his. He's got a lot of training in different modalities to be able to pull and use rightly for each person in this moment what's appropriate for their needs right now. Okay, I want to liken it to Jesus Christ when Jesus was healing people. Do you notice that Jesus did not use the same method for each person?
Absolutely.
Okay, there was one person in the Bible who was healed, a woman who the Bible says she said to herself, if only I can touch his robe, I will be healed. Okay, so she set it up here. She believed in that condition. She went through the crowd and touched his robe, and her healing happened instantly. He didn't have anything to do with it. You see, she set it up, and she drew the healing power through Jesus. And he looked and said, who just did this, right? He felt the power move through, okay? There were others where Jesus spit in the dirt and made mud and rubbed it on the man's eyes and then said, go down to the river. You see, he used different methods for healing. Sometimes he would speak it, sometimes he would touch, sometimes it would happen remotely. He wasn't even there. So let that be an example that there's a different mode and method that's right for you at a given time. And this is why experts like Manu are so helpful when they have a number of tools to be able to use what's appropriate for you at the moment. Manu, so you said that you dropped the term NLP, and I know that stands for neuro-linguistic programming.
Right.
For our new viewers, can you speak a little bit to what it means to be working with the subconscious mind and how we can facilitate healing by making changes through NLP, through hypnotherapy, through some of the tools that you use that are dealing with the subconscious mind?
If you think about, so let's talk about disease, okay? Because you can talk about many things. People have career challenges, people could have relationship challenges, and of course, then people would have some kind of diseases. Now, if you go specific to diseases, we can apply to other things as well. Disease is nothing but your body, which has an inherent system of doing healing, is blocked. And when I say block, means some part of your body and the natural process of healing is not able to do what it must do and what it can do. Now, when we talk about blockages, the blockages are nothing but, if you look at our energy system, and you talk about chakras, the 7 chakras, now each of these 7 chakras are located where we produce enzymes and hormones, which are then leading to all the chemical reactions into the body. Our body is nothing but a chemical reaction producing machine. So we do millions of chemical reaction per second into every cell. This is nothing but a system in the body is not at ease, which means that it is not able to do what it must do inherently to function. And that's how it starts to set in. Now, if you start to go back into what can cause a disease in the 90%, which we talk about stress related, stress is nothing but a thought which starts in your brain that triggers a certain chemical or neuropeptide that goes into your body through the bloodstream, and that starts to make body go out of balance. Okay, going out of balance means that we have a system, we have a sympathetic system. We have 2 systems called parasympathetic and sympathetic. The job of these 2 systems are, one is to heal, the other one is to prepare us for any stress or any what is called fight or flight. Okay, in case you see danger, a system kicks in which helps us to survive. Now, this is a very primitive system. It has been there since ages. The purpose of this was to save us from wild animals. Now we have kept that system still. We can kick off this system of fight or flight not necessarily by seeing a line, but also about thinking about a stress in our life. So what we keep doing because of a stress uh, element in our life is to kick off this system of fight or flight. Now, fight or flight system, when it is there for a short period of time, it is good because it saves you. But
keeps us alive,
keeps us
right?
alive.
There for our
Exactly.
survival. Okay.
This is a survival. But when it is sustained for a long period of time, or going from minutes to hours to days and to weeks and years, okay, of course, something in your body has to break down, because there is, when you are in a survival mode, it is not a time to recover. It's not a time to heal. Okay, there's an enemy, or there is a danger. It's not the time to repair. It's a time to be ready for anything. So this is how we set in a disease coming from stress, because we are always kicking off the fight or flight system that leads to those chemicals in our body that starts to break down one or other system into your body. Okay. Now, back to coming to this to the element of how do you recover, because it's, see, everything starts with a thought, because the way you think makes you act in a certain way. The way you act, it produces this chemical in your body. This chemical in your body then makes you feel a certain way. So you think about a fear. You're going to go to work tomorrow and you think your boss is going to be very nasty to you. Just the thought about your boss makes you act in a certain way, makes you feel, and now you are running the chemical in your body of stress just by thought alone. Okay. So this is what most of us are now attuned in the current world, is that we are able to, and we keep doing, bringing limiting thoughts, bringing fear, judgment, jealousy, anger, all those different thoughts. And the fact that you keep doing it again and again, now you have a system which is starting to break down. And when systems start to break down, a disease comes up and manifests.
Okay, so Manu, it occurs to me that in a modern world, when we're driving cars in traffic and our computer broke down or didn't do the thing we wanted it to do, we're having triggers that are causing us to go into that fight or flight, the argument with the boss. But it seems like in a modern world, we're so fast paced and there's so many things going on that we have a tendency to have one trigger for stress and then another and then another and another. So then you're saying we never really have time to recover. Okay. And so do these healing modalities help us to shift out of that? You said the sympathetic or the stress response of the nervous system, which leads to illness. Then the healing modalities are helping the nervous system to move out of that and into the peace parasympathetic and causing the body to rebalance. If we've been holding that stress state for a long time and the body is unbalanced because it feels like we've been at war for years, how long does it take for the body to start to move out of that and rebalance itself once we start going through healing modalities that change the state of the nervous system?
So it can be in an instant. So it takes less than a second for us to switch out from a stress moment into the study. And you mentioned about NLP. So now NLP, it's called Neuro-Linguistic Programming. Basically, it was created by two people, John Grinder and Richard Bandler, who understood at a point in time when they created, they were mathematicians, and they used to do modeling, okay, as a part of their work. And what they understood quite early on is that people had certain symptoms, and they were going to this psychotherapist for sessions after session. And despite going through those sessions, things did not improve. people did not improve. And at that time, there was a guy by the name Milton Erickson, who was considered to be the best hypnotherapist on the planet. And what these two gentlemen did is they created this system which they call NLP, which is nothing but based on simple premise that the way we think is we think in terms of pictures. Okay, we always think in terms of pictures, and pictures then could have sound, could have smell, could have taste, could have a feeling. Okay, and the moment you change the perspective of this picture, okay, the filters in your body, which are having a certain way to look at the picture, could change immediately. Okay, so one of the most common thing which is done in the case of NLP is that you draw a picture of somebody which is looking at in a stress, and through a very simple 5-minute process, the moment the person dissociates from this picture, takes it far away, turns it black and white, or turns it into a small speck, and brings up a happy moment, just at the same time, this changes the perspective at looking at that event, because the event itself is in the past. So what people remember is not the event itself. They remember a cause that triggered something into their memory, and they look at it from that filter, which is like a picture, and they continue to look at it from this way. For example, somebody who's afraid of water. So when he was a small child, was pushed into the water, and now after 40 years cannot get into water. And not only that, he just by thinking about water can go into a stress mode, into a phobia and a panic mode, whereas there's no water. Now, the treatment of such a person is not about making him believe and think about the water, that the water is not there. It's about going and changing that picture when it started, the root cause when it was there. And the moment that picture is changed and he is dissociated from the picture, okay, all the other aspect, which is a phobia, just drops off and the person goes back to normal. And this can take less than 5 minutes. Okay?
How powerful is that? How powerful, excuse me, how powerful is that we would be able to lose a major ongoing fear in life in 5 minutes? So folks, here we're going to be wrapping up here in just a few moments. Manu, I really wanted to ask if you could share where people can reach you if they would like to learn more or actually to engage with you for some of the healing modalities that you bring. What website can they find you on?
So there is a Art of Healing Center, and I will. It's in Geneva. So normally I'm associated with that. This is where I do it. It's called Art of Healing Center. And www.arthealingcenter.ch.
Art of Healing Center.
Art of Healing Center. Or if somebody just types in Manu Khullar Healing Center, it's the first you will see me immediately.
That's right. Manu Khullar, K-H-U, is it L-L-A-R? Manu?
Yeah.
Yes, K-H-U-L-L-A-R, Healing Center, and you'll find Manu there with the healing modalities that he offers there at the Art of Healing Center in Geneva, Switzerland. So that's so amazing, and I'm just remembering as we're closing today about this woman that you've worked with recently who within 2 days was physically seeing changes in the lump in her breast with the breast cancer from, so folks understand, change the picture in your mind and you'll change the picture in your life. Okay, the out picturing in your life will change as soon as that change is taking place in your mind. And Manu said, we think in pictures. And so all you have to do is put in a new picture, all right? And then the out picturing in your world will change just that quickly, which means that what has been created from the old picture is going to start morphing into a whole new expression as soon as you change the picture. So thank you so much, Manu. I want to let the viewers know that Manu is one of our leadership team. He's going to be a guest presenter at the Eve Consciousness launch event in Lugano, Switzerland, this November 2017, which is November the 9th to the 12th, and then with excursions after that for those who would love to travel. So go online, check it out. You'll see more about Manu there as one of the team presenters. That is eveconsciousness.com/Lugano. You'll learn about the event. And of course, eveconsciousness.com is our home base, where you'll learn more about Eve Consciousness and the power that you have within you to heal and create your world, a better world for all of us. Manu, thank you again for joining us today. Blessings with you and the ministry that you're bringing through, even though you're living in the corporate world and a mainstream life, you're bringing through the healing for many. And folks, just reminding us that we all have that ability. Every one of us can heal ourselves and help to heal others. Bless you, Manu, and thank you for being with us today.
Thank you, Dr. Leslie. Thank you to your viewers as well.
And viewers, we invite you to join us back next week, same place, same time, Wednesdays at noon Eastern Time in the United States. Look that up for where you are in your location, and this recorded show will always be available on YouTube as well. Blessings to you and walk sacred. This is Dr. Leslie Wells with Eve Consciousness TV. Thank you.
Thank you.